How has working with Bethesda and that side of, I guess, the relationship or that side of development been on this game?
In the past, we felt like we've always had to sneak in the features that we like. Things like stealth, moral choices, some of the depth like we were discussing before.
Very cohesive world details.
So some of those are, as I said, like, invisible value to publishers. It's just like, why are you wasting your time with stealth? Like, you're just like, you should like, just, go to the NPC and kill it. Like, there's no way to go. Why do you want to make him hear you, or, all these kind of things. And for the first time then so we got trained to do that. We got trained to actually like sneak in the things we like and then arrive to products that work and sometimes compromise.
And sometimes fail to sneak in.
And sometimes fail. And for the first time then when Todd Vaughn, the person at ZeniMax who came to see us, he actually wanted us to be more of what we are, so he was just like, no, go for it. Like that's exactly why we are approaching you guys.
We kept pinching ourselves, like, wait, did he say be more of what we like? This is impossible.
Yeah. So it's just a very, very refreshing.
Just as Raph was talking about one of their early games and the value of having a weak publisher at some level. It meant they could make the game they wanted, and the first Deus Ex game, we were pretty isolated. Warren's group down in Austin, we were, far away from the mothership, and Eidos was in England, and we weren't owned. We were independent, and they wouldn't come to the studio that often. And we just kind of did what we wanted for a few years, and it was there's something about the hands-off approach, or letting people do what they're passionate about, that is very meaningful. And I have worked in other situations where we were very tightly controlled, and where executives worried about risk, or trying to ensure that you're doing exactly what they saw last month that succeeded very well, even though they don't understand how different philosophically that is from what you want to do, has caused a great number of problems. And I think that's the thing we love about working with ZeniMax is, they've looked at like the games where the team is like allowed to do their thing, the Fallout games and the Elder Scrolls games, and they've had such great success with that. And those are games, the people who play those games know that there's a million details in those games. They're very broad and they're very rich, and they're not products in the sense that someone checked a bunch of boxes. Those games are like labor of love, and so I think because they've had success in that way, they're a great fit for us.
Yeah, well, they are the only, to be honest, like they are the only ones as a publisher that I can think of that truly understand those values, like for this kind of games.
To be able to tell somebody, we want to do a first-person game, very immersive, but it's not a shooter really.
With some RPG elements and
and
some
it has some RPG elements, but it's not really an RPG. And we really like stealth, and we like analog AI.
Yeah.
We like very visceral player mobility, and
because it's their culture, for decades that's what they've been doing. So they are the only one we believe can truly understand at every level, like from the management to everybody. Whereas like some other publishers, I've managed to do that occasionally, but it's it's not as of a slam dunk for them to think this way.
Yeah, and when we say, like, it'll take us 30 minutes to explain to you what we mean or why, but, like, authoring the powers and the AI in such a way where this feels like a simulation is actually very important to us, and will make a huge difference in the way the game feels, and in how often the player can improvise something that we didn't plan overtly. They were, receptive to that, which normally... talk about something that will freak a publisher out, start talking about that.
And then always the cool moment where we show a game to Todd Howard, and then we get some feedback, and so that's one of the, as fans of his work, it's kind of cool to have him, talk to us. And
we get to go, occasionally we get to go see Emil Pagliarulo or Todd Howard and look at their game a little early and get their feedback on our game and stuff, and so it's like, so far it's like, we're super happy. Yeah.
Have you had any luck convincing Todd to let you ride the dragons in Skyrim?
That was our mission for a while.
we get there.
Let us ride the dragons. It's a long-range plan.